Let me guess. Your doctor told you your blood sugar is creeping up. Maybe even that you're pre-diabetic or your A1C came back elevated. Or maybe you're not even looking at labs. You're just exhausted. You're foggy. You're moody. Your waist size keeps growing. Your hormones feel out of whack. And no matter what you do, you feel stuck. Here's the truth. You've been told insulin resistance is all about eating too many carbs. And that's simply not the full story. Carb cutting might work for a few weeks, but then the weight comes back. The fatigue hits harder and your labs don't actually improve. And in some cases, you can see even worse results. In this episode, I'm breaking down the hidden reasons you're still insulin resistant, the ones no one is talking about, and showing you what really is at the root so that you can finally move forward. Here's the issue when it comes to working on blood sugar regulation. Okay. Food is definitely an important piece of the puzzle. However, in my case, when women come to me, they are usually pretty savvy about what to eat, or at least they have made an effort to improve their eating habits, cut back on the alcohol, move their body more, yet something is still not quite aligned because they're not getting the results that they anticipate, at least the results that they anticipated getting because in their 20s or early 30s, all they had to do was cut out carbs for 5 days, move their body a couple more days of the week, and those 5, 10, 20 pounds easily obliterated. Things are different when you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. The body is different. There are a lot more issues that are in the background that most aren't aware of because they are not pathologically relevant, meaning they are not diagnosable. Your doctor runs a standard lab panel, your results come back normal, you're still tired, you're achy, your waist size is growing, you're moody, your periods are a mess or irregular. Your doctor offers you an antidepressant, tells you to eat less, move more. Unfortunately, it's because you're not in pathological range for any disease. Or maybe you are a pre-diabetic. Maybe your elevated glucose has finally hit a tipping point where your doctor says, "Whoop, looks like we're headed towards an area we don't want to." Their first thing they tell you is exercise and eat less and likely reduce your carb intake. And what I've noticed, like I mentioned, most women have already taken that step and they're not feeling better. The thing about insulin resistance, it's more than just what you're eating. It's really about the inputs that are happening all day, every day. There's an overabundance of information that your body has to process. Okay, so it's not just about the food. You're bombarded every day by toxins, environmental toxins, toxins inside your home. If you're drinking alcohol, toxins from alcohol consumption. If you're putting anything on your body, makeup, body lotion, hair products, if you're washing your clothes, you're being exposed to toxins all the time, more now than ever before. Okay. Nutrition is a piece of it. Stress. When you are under stress, your body feels that it's under attack. It's in survival mode. That is also input, it's information to the body. And then when you add all of this together and you start to see deficiencies in certain areas, it's only going to add fuel to the fire. So insulin resistance really is just an overabundance of information that your body is having a hard time doing processing with it. So in many cases, insulin resistance really isn't the problem. It's actually your body's response to trying to keep you safe. Because the fact that it has to overprocess everything, it starts to put up barricades, borders into your cells, into your tissues. It stops listening to the call of insulin because it's protecting your life force. It's protecting your cells, protecting your tissues, protecting the very thing that's keeping you alive. Doesn't care that it's making you fatter. Doesn't care that it's making you tired. It doesn't care that it's making you achy. It's protecting the borders of those cells. So when those cells and tissues become insulin resistant, it's actually a defense mechanism. Your body was designed to go into this mode when it had an overabundance of information. It's prioritizing survival over you feeling good in your body. So let's talk a little bit about other than carbs, because carbs definitely, I wouldn't say not a root cause. Carbs are a downstream effect of becoming insulin resistant when your body becomes sensitive to carbohydrate intake. Okay. overconsumption of fuel in general, not just carbs, but it could be protein, fat macronutrients, carb macronutrients. It's just an overconsumption of caloric intake, then your body has the ability to burn. That's just one of the, again, another piece of information your body is having trouble with when it's dealing with the toxins and it's dealing with the stress and it's dealing with, maybe traumatic events that haven't been resolved inside the body. It's dealing with nutrition. There's a lot of inputs here. But beyond nutrition, because I know a lot of people that are watching this right now or listening to this right now have likely taken the steps to improve their diet, but they're still not seeing results. And here's why. So, to give you some idea of hidden root causes of why you're still insulin resistant despite eating healthy, despite working out, even though exercise, lifting heavy weights, lifting weights and strength training at all is going to help retrain the body to utilize your sugars in a more effective way. But if you're not addressing the whole body from a holistic perspective, from an advantage, 10-foot level vantage point, then you're going to either have slow progress, no progress, or just stay frustrated with thinking all your food efforts and exercise efforts are all for naught. So, stress hormones, cortisol. You have two main hormones that are heavily influenced into your insulin regulation. Number one is your insulin, okay? Number two is your cortisol. So, the amount of insulin you produce is going to affect how your tissues and cells handle. Too much insulin becomes insulin resistant, okay? Cortisol is your stress hormone. Cortisol's job is to keep you alive, and unfortunately, when your body is flooded with low grade levels of cortisol because you are getting emails from your boss at 9 o'clock at night and you don't want to answer it, or you want to put up a boundary, but you want to be a good employee and you're stressed over the fact that you have to open your laptop when you know you shouldn't have blue light in your eyes after dark, right? Like all these things are going on. That is a stress response. Or maybe your kid pissed you off, or maybe you're dealing with a sick parent, or maybe you're dealing with an issue in your partnership with your spouse or your partner, um, constantly ruminating over what you have to do or how much more you have to do or your long to-do list in general. This is all slow, low grade cortisol release in the body. Cortisol spikes. When cortisol spikes, the liver releases more glucose. This is actually on purpose because it thinks that you need energy to flee, to move away from the stressor. Unfortunately, you don't need more energy to move away from the stressor. What you need is to get a handle on your response, your reaction, your internalization of whatever's going on around you. Okay, so this is really a mindset issue. This isn't a safety issue. So when your liver releases more glucose, your body needs more insulin, and that just keeps chronically elevating insulin and causing the insulin resistance to stay or get worse. Okay, so if you're eating healthy, you're exercising, but you're a stress bucket, progress will be slow. Chronic stress keeps you in this fight or flight, meaning your blood sugar always remains at a more elevated place. So it's nearly impossible to bring that average blood sugar down, which means you're going to have a really hard time improving your insulin resistance. Think about symptoms like anxiety, irritability, energy crashes, and then that belly fat that just accumulates below the belly on the hips and thighs. Cortisol. That is stress fat. The second root cause to think about here is sleep deprivation. Okay. Sleep deprivation is people think, oh, I don't, unless I have a newborn, like I'm actually getting decent sleep now than I used to when I was a new mom. Okay. That's fair. However, poor or short sleep, your body becomes insulin resistant overnight, even temporarily. So if you're only putting in or clocking in 5 to 6 hours of quality sleep a night, that's a problem. If maybe on the weekends you're getting 10 hours of sleep, but during the week you're getting maybe 6 hours of sleep. You got to think about the average amount of sleep. It's not just one good night and the rest shittiness. Kind of like being overweight and thinking one salad a week is going to do it for you to lose the weight. It doesn't work that way. So sleep loss raises your hunger hormones and lowers your satiety. Think about that. Sleep loss raises your interest in food, and it's not kale that you're interested in. It's bread, it's pasta, it's sugar, it's coffee, it's sweet treats, it's crunchy things, right? To satisfy your hunger, and it lowers your satisfaction. So you end up eating more or fast or quickly, which is only going to perpetuate the insulin release into the system because these types of foods are insulin dependent, highly insulin dependent, meaning your body needs a lot of insulin in order to bring your glucose back down. This is going to be a perpetual issue when it comes to reducing insulin resistance. So if you're eating healthy, if you're exercising, but you're not prioritizing sleep, this is a problem. This is why you're still insulin resistant. The next one I want to talk about is a little bit more complex, and it has to do with the interplay between insulin and your hormones, uh, specifically your sex hormones, estrogen and progesterone, and thyroid hormones. Um, when you have any deficiencies or imbalances or irregularities in your estrogen hormones, progesterone hormones, or thyroid hormones, that is going to have an effect on insulin signaling. Okay. So low thyroid. So think if your TSH is high or your free T3, T4 is low. Um, this would be considered a suboptimal or a low thyroid, and you do not have to be clinically hypothyroidism. So if you've never been diagnosed with a thyroid issue, that doesn't mean you don't have a thyroid issue. It just means pathologically they can't label you with a thyroid issue. So when your thyroid is low, this slows the metabolism and makes cells less sensitive to insulin. Again, it's a defense mechanism. It's a defense mechanism because if you overload the cells and tissues with insulin, your body will explode, like your cells will defect, right? So it's a defense mechanism. But in the meantime, your belly's getting puffier, wider, thicker, your hair is falling out, your skin is dry, your nails are cracking, you're cold or hot all the time, your libido is in the complete, it's just non-existent, which is affecting your marriage, it's affecting your relationships, it's affecting your ability to feel like a woman and confident in your body. It's a shit show, right? So estrogen dominance or progesterone deficiency, those two hormones are going to cause insulin signaling as well. So if you have, depending on your cycle, and if you know you can track your cycle and you know where you are in your cycle, especially in the luteal phase, that's the back half of your cycle, estrogen and progesterone need to be in a really good ratio to each other. What we see now more often due to stress, insulin resistance. We see estrogen being disproportionately higher than where progesterone is, which is causing an estrogen dominant state. Because there's an excess amount of estrogen to progesterone, that itself is going to cause insulin signaling issues, but it's also going to fuel fire to all the other symptoms that are making you feel like trash, also sabotaging your healthy eating and motivation and or energy to go and exercise. So symptoms like irregular cycles, heavy periods, perimenopause chaos. Okay, just think about feeling like you want to punch everyone. Your belly flab just getting bigger, hot flashes. 1 minute you feel good, the next minute you want to cry. Fatigue, hair thinning. Okay, so it's not that you're broken. Your hormones and thyroid are just part of insulin resistance puzzle. And if you're ignoring this root, you're missing a huge piece. Okay, you're missing a very, very huge piece. The next one I want to talk about, and last one for now, is the digestion and liver function connection. And by the way, stress hormones, sleep deprivation, hormones, and thyroid, these root causes are all connected to the digestive and liver function. They're everything, if you haven't figured out by now, is extremely connected. So working on one thing may help the other thing, but if you're not working on the other thing and this one thing in tandem and parallel, you may notice some improvements and declines, like you never really get to a point where you're feeling like you're on the right path. So you really have to think about how to help your body in the totality of your body as opposed to trying to do one thing at a time. I understand that that is overwhelming AF, which is why it's important to get a guide like me to not only help you understand where to start, but how to do things in the right order, or how to do things in the right order or in parallel that are manageable for you and in your lifestyle, your life, right? Some people have more time than others. Some people have more capacity than others. Some people have more brain capacity than others. And so it really, know thyself, right? Know thyself. So the last root cause I want to talk about today is really digestive insufficiency. So leaky gut um, is a sign if you have any digestive issues, heartburn, GERD, um, acid reflux, constipation, meaning you don't go poop every single day of your life, or an overabundance of bowel movements, right? So if you have IBS type symptoms, ulcerative colitis type symptoms, diarrhea in general, if you're dealing with belching, bloating, stomach pain after eating, um, greasy stools, um, you know, think about any digestive dysfunction. Also, anything digestive, although you may not notice it digestively, it may show up on the skin, eczema, acne, skin rashes. These are all signs of digestive dysfunction. So leaky gut is a if you have digestive dysfunction, you can almost assume you have a leaky gut. If you have an autoimmune condition, you can assume you have a leaky gut, which just means this is going to cause an inflammation flux through the body. Okay. When your gut has microscopic tears, leaky gut, when your gut has microscopic tears, that's going to allow particles that are probably not threatening, but they're just not broken down properly because you have holes in your gut, meaning things are passing that shouldn't have, like undigested food particles, pathogens, bacteria. Your digestive system is one of our is a second defense. First defense is your skin. Second defense is your digestive system. Your digestive system is a defense against pathogens, bacteria. It keeps you well. Your immune system lies inside your digestive system, right? So if you have holes in your digestive system, you can see this is going to cause an inflammation flux into the body. Inflammation is going to increase and or cause and perpetuate insulin resistance. So if you're ignoring your liver, if you're ignoring your digestive system, you won't be able to clear out hormones. It's going to worsen blood sugar swings. It's going to cause issues like poor bile flow, constipation. Estrogen is going to recirculate, right? So you're going to deal with what we talked about earlier, which is the hormone imbalances. Um, and it's going to just perpetuate the insulin issues. So if you're bloated, constipated, your digestion feels off, and or it's just not comfortable, right? It's keeping you insulin resistant. So skipping this step is why you are still stuck. Do you see how it's not just about reducing carbs and kicking your ass in the gym more? You really have to think about what got me here. How do I unravel what got me here? And that's going to look different for every woman, every person. Okay. So this isn't about cutting harder, cutting foods out of your diet harder. It's about really getting to what's driving your inflammation, your insulin resistance, your blood sugar dysregulation. And the good news is there's all of this is reversible. Okay. It's all reversible. I like to say to my clients, everything's fixable. Okay. Some things will be harder, meaning more effort and a longer time period to see improvements. But it really goes hand in hand with, you know, how long you've been dealing with this, how long you've been ignoring it. So if you're tired of the quick fixes, right? If you're tired of just trying to cut out carbs harder or work out harder, and you are someone that wants to connect the dots between your labs, your symptoms, why you're feeling the way you're feeling and why your current choices aren't working for you. This is exactly what I do inside my functional rise method, where we literally get to your root causes through lab work, through symptom analysis, through figuring out who you are as a human being, because who you are as a human being is literally 90% of why you're insulin resistant. And that doesn't mean it's your fault. That means it gives us a roadmap to understand how do we get you out of this. This is what we do inside my support services. So if you are interested in getting real answers, not being dismissed, and getting a real plan that fits your lifestyle, your body, your root causes, then I want you to look at the show notes below, click the link, and apply to be a client within the Functional Rise method. And of course, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me, find my email address in the show notes below, and or find me on Instagram at BeBodyEmpowered and ask me your questions there. Otherwise, I hope this was enlightening. I hope this gave you hope. And I really hope that it gave you some literacy around where you need to think about optimizing your body, your health in order to finally get out of this rut and feel better, see progress, and get to a point where you feel healthy again, strong again, confident again. Your body is working as it should. Because really, at the end of the day, whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, you should be feeling good. Okay. Granted, 60, 70, maybe there's some more aches and pains than before, but you should be able to have energy fit into the clothes that make you feel good, have clear skin, have clear head, and just let the ride keep getting better and better. I will see you in the next episode. Take care.